pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We can just stay standing and think about all our emergency service workers and all our armed forces in this craziness out in the Middle East. Just take a moment, please. And any local residents who may have passed. Thank you. So thanks everybody for coming tonight. Monday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. We did the pledge. Thank you, Mr. Wells. I appreciate it. I know you're one of my biggest fans. I appreciate it. Any local organizations or elected officials? I have a bunch to go over. I'll talk maybe about one or two things in the beginning. Mayor's comment. I'm sure we'll talk more about it later, but I just want to make a quick couple comments about building inspector / code enforcement. I happened to be able to rewatch the town meeting on last Monday. Good meeting. I talked about a lot of stuff. You know, when we started our budget process, because our budget process starts at a different time of year than the towns runs from January, they run a calendar year, their fiscal year is a calendar year, it starts in January, they end in December. They do their budget process roughly in October, sometimes they can start a little sooner, and I think by November 5 or November 4th, they have to have something approved. So our budget starts in June 1 and ends May 31st, so. We discussed it as a board to the potential for us to talk about whether we try to look at the contract that we have with the consolidated service to maybe make a few changes in the contract, or we decide to reestablish a code enforcement / building inspector for the village side. I have to budget something in order to do that. Doesn't mean we have to do it, doesn't mean we even need to do it. It just means in order for me to move forward after June, I have to have a budgeted item. And right now we have that budget not through taxation, the revenue from whatever we would take in based upon any projects that would start, based upon fee schedule that we would create, would fund that position. We haven't talked about whether it's a full-time inspector / code enforcement, or it's a part-time secretary, or where the office is gonna go, any of that. We haven't talked to the town about whether or not we want to renegotiate the contract, get out of the contract, any of that. We started infancy. It's just starting the conversation. But in order for us to have any type of movement forward, whatever we decide, especially if we decide to create our own department, I have to have it budgeted. You can't have that department that size spring up in the middle of our fiscal year and try to decide after the fact. So I just want to dispel that. It has nothing to do with politics. That was a comment made up, and has nothing to do with being unfair or any dissatisfaction. I think every board member that has spoken about it on the village board has mentioned nothing of dissatisfaction in the sense of the current full-time building inspector / code enforcement, which is Mr. Hannawalt. I think we've all applauded him. But we recognize that in the last 10 years, the turnover of the second person in that department have had 9 people. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know what the mantra is. I don't know if it's something there, if it's just the person, it's the talent, whatever the case. And we have new board members on this board now who have made suggestions, who've had conversations about code enforcement and how much more we need, or what more direction we need to take, or what more productivity we need to have. So it's just healthy conversation at this point. Nobody's made any type of hard decision, but that's the process. we talk about it first, we get the public involved at some point when we're ready to move forward, and then we'll obviously talk to the town. I mean, that's not gonna not happen. So, again, I don't wanna create a horror story where none exists. The last thing I wanna talk about before we get into the public comment is the BES battery storage facility. Depending on what social media page you're on, I've never seen, first I want to comment and say this, I've never seen so many social media pages about information in the village of Highland Falls or the town of Highlands. I mean, per capita, I think we have, I think at one time we were in the Guinness Book of World Records for most bars and or taverns. I think that we had that at one time, right, Mr. McCormick?
I'd go for that.
Yeah, okay. So I think if Guinness Book of World Records came back again and said, let's see how many social media pages you have on Facebook, I want to say that I don't know that we would have the record, but I definitely think we'd be runner-up. So it's, again, we're doing, this board, I applaud this board that we kind of take baby steps with some of the big issues. The important thing to start that was to talk to the public. We talked to the contractor and the person who wanted to do the project. We hammered out a deal to the best of our ability, and we wanted to just bring the information to the public. Doesn't mean we're gonna do it. Doesn't mean anything other than we wanted to get the information out there about the potential lease. We can have a whole handful of meetings about what this thing does, obviously what the risks are, what the strategy would be, what the emergency plan would be, what upgrades they're gonna do to the plant, our water supply, which is, 2 miles away, all the stuff that we would wanna talk about for this project. We haven't voted on anything. And then the board can decide if we wanna have a public vote, or you wanna have the board vote, whatever the case may be, but depending, again, what social media page you look on, it's as if they started building already. No one's building up there. Nothing's happened. It's a potential revenue source that's non-fee or tax to the residents of this community at approximately $2.5 million, and if we don't spend 5 minutes on it as a board, then we are doing you all a disservice. Could still be a no. But I think it's important for us to at least look at it for a few minutes. So hopefully that dispels a little bit of some of the craziness that's on social media. Like, take it easy, we're starting very slow on this. We know it's a touchy subject, and not for nothing, these things are coming. I don't know if they're coming to our town, our community, but they're coming. I don't necessarily agree with it either, but the mentality of it. But if O&R, which is scheduled to decommission their transfer station on Mountain Avenue, decides to engage with one of these folks to put a battery plant right then and there, right in that spot, they'll do it. There's nothing you can do to stop them. They're a utility. Guess what? They don't need your okay. They just do it. They'll just put it in. We won't have a say. We won't be able to, we can cry about it, we can have a meeting about it, yell at them, but they're still gonna do it. Just like when they raise your rates. You can say you don't wanna pay it, but then your power will go off. So, if these things are coming, it is an opportunity for us to be able to have a little control of where it goes, what's gonna happen, and we get the whole village gets the benefit from the revenue. Again, just looking at it, these are all things we're thinking about. So, I just wanted to say that. Public comment on agenda items. None whatsoever? I know it's a very light agenda tonight. I apologize. None? Okay. I've got a resolution for 2025-2026 budget transfer, general fund to workers' compensation in the amount of $3,168.27. Whereas at the May 4th, Star Wars, 2026 village board meeting, the village board approved the budget transfer from the general fund to workers' compensation. Now therefore be it resolved that the following budget transfer in the amount of $3,168.27 be approved from Chase General Fund 7927 to NCA Comp Workers' Compensation 0658. I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Ramus. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Gargiulo. Is there any questions? Roll call.
Trustee Olivia?
Yes.
Trustee Ramus?
Yay.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Gargiulo?
Yes.
Mayor DeSalvo?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Next is to approve Memorial Day observation sponsored by the American Legion Post 633 on Monday, May 25th, Memorial Day, 2026, from 10 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. at Memorial Park. Everything seems to be attached. I just need a motion to approve that.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Carroll. Is there a second?
Second?
By trustee Olivia. Any questions or? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approve the Village of Highland Falls Annual Fish On Children's Fishing Derby on Saturday, June 13th, 2026. Also, isn't that Nature Day or something?
Community Day.
Community Day.
They're gonna be doing that in the afternoon, so,
But isn't it like the first day of something?
well, they changed it. Last year, it didn't fall on the same weekend, and they changed it to the same weekend, which I think is a good thing. Hopefully, we'll have more people at the events.
Awesome. Saturday, June 13th, 8 a.m. is registration, 9 a.m. to 11, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. is the actual fishing derby, and it's at Roe Park Lake, which is 31 Roe Ave. So I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Gargiulo. Is there a second?
Second?
Whoa. Trustee Olivia. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Next is to approve the bid proposal from L&L Property Maintenance LLC for the fiscal year 26-27 grass cutting services per recommendation of the DPW Supervisor, Joseph Murphy. Your Mayor and Board, I respectfully recommend the Board accept the low bid of $18,660 from L&L Property Maintenance LLC for grass cutting services fiscal year 26-27. These services are for a period of June 1, 2026 to May 31, 2027. And there were two contractors that submitted the bid, and they were the low bid. So I need a motion
Motion.
by trustee Gargiulo. Is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Carroll. Any questions, comments, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment. Please just step up to the microphone. You don't have to give your name, but maybe just your street.
Right here. Hey guys, Jennifer Ryan, Ondaora Parkway. I just wanted to let you all know that I went to Tulsa, Oklahoma about 2 weeks ago for a few days. And it was a Main Street America conference, and I paid for it out of pocket. I just want to put that out there, and because there could be some confusion. But I believe in their mission so much, and the things that I knew that I would learn while I was there. And so I have a lot of things I'd love to share. We'll do it another time, but we are going to kind of debrief, if you will, tomorrow, so I can share more about it. But if you have questions, it's all about revitalization of Main Streets and using history and placemaking and storytelling and really what we have here, not changing things, but just shining things up. And yeah, it was a great experience. But I wanted to let you know, more information to come. So, thanks.
Excellent. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I think everybody knows who I am. Mayor DeSalvo, I respect and I appreciate what you were saying. And it's nice to see that the board is looking into trying to find some kind of revenue for the community on situations that we have here. Just real quick, one thing I did look into, there are self-contained concrete buildings that are 100%, everything would be contained inside of it. It's just an idea.
Right.
This is gonna be up from my home, so I would absolutely like to see something like, if it goes through, to be protected in my area, that whatever inside, in case a problem happens, it stays inside.
Mhm.
And if anybody wanted to see what these things look like, Stewart Airport has one of the old National Guard. It's a closed-down building now, but it's a self-contained concrete floor, concrete ceiling, walls up on concrete pillars. So it's 100%. So as we go further down, you know, you think about revenue, you think about safety.
Yeah.
Safety's always on top of revenue, but it's something that I'm interested in.
Sure.
The other thing I wanted to mention also, when you talk about property maintenance, I remember when I was on the village board, that was the village board property maintenance. Is that still the same?
It's still all handled by the building department / code enforcement, because property maintenance would be code enforcement.
Okay.
And then we've had like one meeting, I think it was 2 meetings ago, we had seven different violations for 4
And
different.
the only reason I'm going on that is because we're coming into summertime. Summertime means, which I hope not, some heavy, heavy rain. So that brings the situation of the brook. So I know there's a lot of properties right now that, of the damage still there from the July 9th. So I was wondering up at Bob Meadow, and Jimmy, you might be able to answer this. Has there been anything by the engineers to, when that water is coming down, we all know how it comes down, to slow it down a little bit? Has there been anything, talk, conversation, or maybe something in?
The only thing we're doing right now is we're in the process of working on the Lower Bog Dam,
Right.
which we got a grant for. So we're in the process of having the engineers who just work on dams. Actually, I don't know if they just work on dams, but they specialize in dams. And the rest of it wouldn't be our property, so I'd have to check. That would be a legal question and probably an engineer
And
question.
the only reason I'm saying that, which you probably all know, a lot of the properties, because of the July 9th storm, are at the worst they could get.
Yep,
So if there is, by chance, a heavy, heavy storm like we had, and Jimmy, you live along there, I really think it's gonna be devastating for some properties, I really do. So that's why I was concerned about, is there anything maybe that they're looking at to slow down that flow a little bit? But,
nothing specific. Go ahead.
A new valve is proposed for the lower bog,
okay,
so that's going to help as well, along with the reconfiguration of the spillway.
and I know things take time, but as you say, proposed, is that proposed that it'll be in there soon, or is that?
No, that's what the grant was for.
Okay, okay.
And this is what we're looking to do at that particular time.
And then finally, last thing is that where my home is, I'm planning on putting in that one area where the bridge is, a 4-foot wall. Because a lot of that water has hit that bridge and came over that bridge. So if chance you all would like to meet with me, and I'll show you what I'm planning on doing up there, I have no problems with that at all, before I start the project.
Yeah, we don't own the brook.
Right,
There's certain sections of the brook that there's a wall or two that we do own or that is on municipal property.
Right,
But for, I'd say a majority of them, we don't own them. But I would just say if you're doing something in regards to a stream, you might, I mean, I don't think you
this will
need.
be actually where the old wall was, it's like 2 feet high, it's a higher curve.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's gonna go on that.
Okay.
So that's actually on my property line there, but it's obvious that wasn't high enough. It was a
Right.
good idea, but not high enough. So it's basically just gonna be a little wing on the end and going around to my driveway.
Okay.
This way that comes down, but if there's any concern by the board at all on this, please don't hesitate to ask me.
I mean, you might want to have a conversation with Dave Hurst or Joe Murphy. And,
Okay.
You know, just
All
to.
right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave McCormick, 102 Burns. What I'd like to ask the board for is some sort of agreement between the town and the village police to, on Saturdays and Sundays, from about 9:30 till noon, put 2 cops up by the town garage and just stop the motorcycles. I'm not talking about ticketing anybody, stop them, make up an information page on what, driving at 80 miles an hour can get you.
Right.
I mean, that kind of driving, you lose your license, you can get up to a $5,000 fine, your bike will be impounded, and for the sunny days that, these bikes rip through there. And we all know that. And there's people killed every year, every other year on those bikes. If they could just make up the information page on what they can face for that kind of driving,
Okay.
and just
Sure.
hand that to them, pass out to these guys,
Okay,
and get their attention.
sure.
And also, the dirty water at my house. A lot of people complain about dirty water. Gary knows, it takes about 3 days for the toilet to be browned, and you swish it around and it's muddy water. The cat's dish I clean every day because of the sediment in the water.
Okay,
Now, they flushed the hydrant above me, but the dead end hydrant and the one next to it, I don't believe were ever flushed.
okay. I'll talk to VRI. They'll probably want to come by the house if that's okay.
That's all right with me,
Okay.
they can test my water if they want.
No, it's not necessarily that, but I'll let them contact you.
And along with that, like Garrett said, suddenly in front of my house, there's all kinds of painted lines and numbers and stuff in front of my driveway. Yellow, blue, anybody know anything what that is?
It's probably something to do with Safe Dig New York, but I can find out.
I mean, they just did it last year, they just
I know.
fixed everything. So-
Might not be us, so I'll check.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Good to see you, Mr. McCall. Anybody else?
Public
Oh,
comment.
you were waiting. Suspense. Suspense out. No, it's 3 minutes.
Okay, we spoke about, autos on front yards for 5, 6, 7 years. Is anybody doing anything about Main Street and Mountain Avenue autos parked on front yards?
It's a consolidated department.
Who's the liaison with the? Okay, so we can ask about that.
Absolutely.
Okay, I like the rooster, but I'm hearing the rooster again. I actually like
You
it.
think?
What is the story with the rooster? He's back?
I'm meeting with Mr. Hannawalt tomorrow. I got one too around my house, so I unplugged my alarm clock. I don't need it anymore.
Okay, many years ago, we stopped the church bells because they encroached on people's
Yeah.
sleeping.
Roosters are
whatever,
okay though.
right? So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that we should put the church bells back.
We should sacrifice the rooster at church.
Yes.
Okay, any future plans to meet with the garrison commander and that team? That was a good meeting.
We try to, a joint one? Nothing in the works now, but we try to get together at least quarterly.
Okay. If we can plan on that, that's productive. With regard to Bog Meadow, Little Bog and Big Bog, many years ago, we spoke about possibly pursuing the option to secure property around Little Bog and Big Bog, 100 yards as a safety area from West Point, from the federal government, and from Black Rock. So we should just keep that in mind, to protect our watershed, right? Agenda items. I spoke about possibly putting planning and zoning on the agenda items. And I know Mr. Dunn is here often, and I never see it. So it's, with regard to the battery storage, I appreciate this group trying to find options, but I think it's taken away from the big picture. Big picture is develop Main Street. That's where that would generate a significant amount of money for us. So I'm concerned that these little hiccups, $75,000 a year divided by 15 houses, 1,500 houses in our community is $50 per household, right? As opposed to, let's develop Main Street. So, okay, the PUDs, we spoke about the PUDs. If any property comes back to us from the federal government, the village or the town, we should identify that property as a PUD, but we need to do it now before somebody comes in. It's probably a quick resolution, law, but we should really look into that. The reduction of the 75-foot height, Mr. Dunn was here a number of times about that. Is that's done?
Done.
Okay, good. That's a plus, okay. Redefine Main Street, right? Right now, our commercial zone runs to Key Bank. Past Key Bank, we have, and I'm gonna say, okay, Key Bank, we have, it's not my hometown market, Seafoods,
Seatown.
Hotel, Frankie Faye's building, and then on the other side of the street, we have a funeral home, a restaurant, doctor's offices. So, it's my opinion that we should push that B zone, whether it's a B2 zone that extends from Key Bank down to Ondeora Park. Just something for you to think about, please. Can we set a goal to try to approve 2 major projects on Main Street? Not only from the village board, but the planning board. I mean, I'll speak to the chairman about that, but we should have a goal in mind that tries to push the development of Main Street. I mean, we've been talking about this for 4, 5, 6 years now. Everybody has spoken about our infrastructure. So you had a good idea, Mr. DeSalvo, and Mr. Carroll had a good idea about fee in lieu of parkland. Can we look into that? Can we ask council about that? Switch the fee in lieu of parklands to fee in lieu of infrastructure.
Fee in lieu of park, just quickly, fees in lieu of parkland are authorized under state law. Impact fees are not.
Okay. Okay, so,
It's up to the planning board to determine whether a development is gonna impact infrastructure directly. And you guys are more than able to do that and deal with the site plan or subdivision through the secret process without venturing into unlawful impact fees.
I like unlawful feedback. Okay, all right, we'll have to look at a different option. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this is a good time to silence your cell phones. Mr. Ross.
I've been silent too, by the way.
Edward Dunn, Cranston, Island Falls, New York. Just a couple things. Mr. Livesey brought up a couple of good points. One is about all the erosion that has taken place after the flood. And a lot of things are beyond our control. Every place where the water came from is owned by the government. Anybody knows anything about the land, a lot of us do, we hunted it. Up above the water plant, at the Dover Farm area, there used to be 2 beaver ponds up there. There was another big swamp up on top of that. They all ran down into Hollow Falls via that stream that almost blew out the foundation for the water tank. So that needs environmental engineering. Without any kind of environmental engineering, you're not going to solve any problems. And that has to be, you have to go through the government. So maybe Eric with your garrison commander, we can meet and do something about that. Also up where the Missouri's is, by Stony Lonesome, that whole area came down. All that stuff came down into the brook can handle it. So now what we have, whenever we get heavy rains, there's no beaver dams, there's nothing to hold the water back, and the water just screams down for 2 days, and then it goes away. And then people get up at this meeting and say, why is there no water in the brook? Because it's all in frickin' river, that's why. Well, there's nothing to hold it back. Basically, that is the answer to your question, but it needs somebody beyond this board actually to do something about it. All right? The other thing was, with regard to the battery plant. Battery plant is nothing more than a moneymaker. That's what it is. So they take power out of the grid and they put power back into the grid. They take it out at a lower price and they sell it at a bigger price. And they pay a rent for the land. Basically, that's all it is. Not going to do anything to the village, for the village of Highland Falls if there's blackout. If there's a blackout, they can't put power out of that battery plant on the lines because they could kill somebody, obviously, work on the lines. But that's not going to happen. So basically, everybody has to understand that it's a revenue generator for the village, all right? Now, with regards to these projects, well, projects can't, and you're absolutely right about what you said about seeker and everything, but any of these projects, they really can't be done unless we have drawings that we receive that we can review and go through the whole process in order to move some of these projects along. So, but we're waiting on the drawings. We're waiting on until we get the design engineering done, and that's basically where we are. We're just in a holding pattern, you might say. So the planning board really can't do anything unless we have something to do it with. Okay, so basically, that's all I have.
Sit tight.
Very good. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, I just want to address 2 quick things. I like the comment about trying to, do something on Main Street and try to work on 2 goals or create 2 goals in order to facilitate smart growth and investment into the village. So I think we did a lot as a board with the last zoning laws that we passed. We're definitely going to talk about the mapping or the area for B2. Just going back a little bit, and some of the board members were not here during that process, but we had a lot of residents because of the way B2 is. As you move down Main Street heading south, you run into a lot of areas where there's a business, there's 5 or 10 homes, then there's a business, then there's 3 homes, then there's a business. So we had a couple of issues when we had the B3 zone because we created the zone and there were a couple residential that went into commercial. And that could be an issue for the residential owner, for lending, for a couple different things. It doesn't necessarily mean your property values go down, it could potentially go up, but there was a few issues with that, and that's why I think after we came back, after trying to work for an investor for the hotel, which I think the previous board did a lot for, to try to accommodate that individual, along with the planning board and other boards in the community. So definitely have to look at it, but I don't know how we may have to look at how we carve out some of those residential areas, which is very difficult because it's direct line into the district. So I don't know how that would work, and that's why I think, going back to our founding, I'll say fathers, but mothers too, that's why I think that was created that way. So we'll look into it, try and extend that line as best as possible. But I just think we need to make sure, I think we need to communicate it better when we're gonna change the zone map to those folks who may get into that zone who are residential now. It'll be commercial, there's a potential for it to be commercial unless we can carve it out. So, but we will look into that. And the other thing I think the board has talked about, I know we've talked about it individually, is traffic pattern. And I think probably within the next month, I'll say 2, hopefully a board member won't stab me. We'll be trying to look at traffic patterns on Main Street and some of the north end to see if some of this development does come to fruition, what would work best on some of the, not necessarily Main Street, but the streets one up from Main Street, your church, your Homestead, your Perry, your Drew, your Cousins, and just get a overall study and see if some roads need to change, if it makes sense to change, what makes sense better for parking, what makes better sense for traffic flow. Because if some of these investment opportunities for some of these properties do come to fruition, we may have to address on some of the traffic patterns that may have to change. They may have to change. So it's definitely on the board's mind, and we have talked about it, not too nauseam, but we're getting close. No other public comment. Okay. We'll go to liaison reports. Trustee Olivia.
Not too much from me tonight. We've covered, I think, a lot of different things that have been discussed throughout the community, so I appreciate everyone's comments tonight. I'm just going to give you a reminder that this weekend is Mother's Day, so everyone do something special and make your mother feel loved.
Excellent.
That's it for me.
Happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you.
Trustee Ramus.
Good evening, everybody. So, the April sewer treatment plant flow and operations report is as follows. Daily average down there was 769,000 gallons a day. We had 2.5 inches of rain that month, which brings up the flow. But that's okay. We are working on some other things with the DPW. I have been working on some other things with the DPW about some of the INI infiltration areas that we know, and they're right on top of it, trying to address those. So that's a plus. They continue to do their maintenance on the equipment down there. Pump stations are all in good working order for the moment. All the weekly samples have gone out to the DEC. We're still removing sludge from down there. That appears to be like every other month for the moment. It may change every month depending on how the new press is working. The recycle pump number 1, we're going to have to get one of those. We talked about that already. The prices to replace it are still up. We'll get 3 quotes on that. Again, the chain flights on the clarifier down there, they're going to be working on those, replacing some of that, and that's going to start in June. All the tanks, they drain on a regular basis, inspected, and they seem to be in good working order. They also were called on our sewer repair on Main Street, on Navy Federal. They worked hand in hand with the DPW, which saved us some money, but we still had to have TAM come down. But these are things that happen with the old infrastructure. I've said in the past about the Cowboys and Companions program that's out there. It's run by Dwayne and his wife Jackie. This is is on our website. I'll have one hanging up downstairs as well. They do a lot of things with the veterans. What they got coming up in May is an introduction to welding. Go on their website and you can sign up for it. It's at the Middletown 258 Prosperous Valley Road. So they teach veterans, first responders, people like that. All you gotta do is RSVP, get on their agenda, and they are more than willing to teach new things that you may not have in your tool bag right now, whether it's art or actual work. There's a lot of things you can do with welding skills, and welders get paid good money out there. They also have on their website their July through December calendar. I'm still trying to get them to come down here and do some of their outreach programs at our local VFW. And I had spoken with John Flynn about that, so hopefully we can get them down here as well, because I know there's a lot of vets that would like that. And last but not least is the Children's Fishing Derby. Here's the flyer. Maybe a quick change to the actual registration, which would make it a little bit earlier. And I know the kids like to fish a little longer, but generally we should be done by noon. And if the changes are made, I'll make sure it gets out there on social media and on the website. Thank you. Oh, wait.
Whoa.
I see one of the fish rangers out there. I was hoping he was going to be available again this year. Thank you, Mr. McCormick. And anybody else who would like to help, just shoot me an email. We're always looking for people at the registration table. I think we got our chefs down for the moment. And if anybody would like to help in any other way, just reach out to me. Thanks so much.
Interesting little factoid that some people might not want to know, but I'm going to say it anyway. When Mr. McCormick used to fish around Roe Park, I was just a wee lad, and I would follow him around, and I think I used to ask him 2.4 million questions as we went around the lake, so thank you, I appreciate it. Trustee Gargiulo?
I don't have too much either. As of 5/1, the water is averaging 415,000 gallons per day, with the tank steady at 29.5 feet, which means the system is in pretty good shape. As for meeting with the garrison commander, there is a community leader meeting being hosted on Thursday. So we do, in the interim of that big meeting, we do get together and have conversations, which will bring reports on that. They are pretty productive. Trustee Olivia and I did a cleanup day with some, I think Elena actually hosted it. And we went around, with the good thing about this, we went around Main Street cleaning up, and there wasn't too much to clean up. Our DPW is really keeping up on stuff, so it's really impressive. That's the good thing. Other than that, I don't have anything, but thank you to all our government and town and village employees, as always.
Trustee Carroll?
The village department, they did their usual cleanup. You notice Roe Park and the Lily Field and the Main Street and everything has been pretty well taken care of. The Little League opened up this week with about 6 games there on Saturday. And that was interesting and very enjoyable. They were playing until dark, and actually in the dark. I didn't realize we didn't have lights there. The bathrooms are all cleaned up and ready to go. They're opening the bathrooms at the pool at the municipal building there. They're working on getting the electric to the lifeguard chairs now. Let's see. I've stopped down to talked to the guys down there twice, and both times they were all doing mechanical work, which is interesting to see, because that's saving us a lot of money. So those guys are all working real well, doing, and they really take pride in their work. It's really nice. I don't think there's much else. Miss Olivia and Gargiulo here and myself, we attended a function at West Point called Sandhurst. That was really interesting. It was a competition between 48 different universities, a 3-day competition. Really go all night and all day and all night. We were up at Les Reservoir and watched the races. They race on the water rafts, and then after that they take off running, and before you know, at the end of the night they have to run 10 miles. Which I didn't understand this. The lieutenant colonel that was running the whole show was telling me that the further back you come in on the first day, the benefit is you get less sleep that night. It's down to like 3 hours sleep, and they expect you to be in the front of the competition the next day. I said, that doesn't sound like the logical way of doing it, but that's the way they do it. They push them hard. Now, 16 of those teams were from Europe. They came over to participate in the competition. It's pretty interesting. It's fun. So there's a lot of things we can do. AOG invited us to that one. So I'm looking forward to the next one. We went to one 2 years ago too. It was the War Games out on my road. It was good too. Nice mixing up with that, seeing the cadets, show their stuff. Thanks for letting me share.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, bear with me, I've got a lot to go over, so I apologize ahead of time. If you're hungry now, you might want to leave. First is the monthly report from the police department. Total calls was 903. Arrest summary was a total of 18, of which 13 were misdemeanors, 3 violations, and 2 felony. Summonses issued, 20 parking tickets, and 176 traffic tickets, for a total of 196. Total revenues collected for meters was $1,716. So 176 tickets for traffic. So they're out there working. We've had a chat about speed, and I appreciate their breakdown. There was even 2 officers that were tied at 54 tickets each. So I think the chief's going to give like you get an extra Slurpee or something for tying at 54 tickets. But people need to slow down. So, but it's good to see that they're out there working. I want to thank Trustee Olivia and the rest of the board, but mostly Trustee Olivia. Everyone got, water bills went out, and in the water bill we started, as we talked about, maybe 6-7 months ago, we talked about a newsletter. So we did our first newsletter, and they went out with the village bills, which, I guess is bittersweet, right, because you got a bill with it. But we tried to not increase any costs, so. It's a great newsletter. It's got some great information. It's the summer edition. It's got some general information, talks about different board meetings, village board obviously, zoning, planning, water, sewer, reminders, traffic safety, little tidbits, grant updates from our archives, has a nice little calendar on there. It talks about our website. Has like a little find some words, word search, and it has a nice little cartoon caricature of us on the back, which is pretty close. I mean, it looks. I noticed the best looking one in the picture though is you in this cartoon character. I don't know. Bobbleheads? Bobbleheads. We could do that. Little fundraiser action. I like that. So it's very, very nice. We did it at pretty low cost. So, and I helped fold. I got suckered in to help folding these things, so it was good. It was very, very good. So thank you very much for that, and I'm sure the community will. This month is Corrections Month for corrections workers. it's also Nurses Month. My mom was a nurse, or if you ask her, she's still a nurse, so kudos to her. There's a fantastic Corrections and Deputies Awards ceremony tomorrow at Sugarloaf at 1 o'clock. We talked about battery storage. We did water flushing. We're probably going to do it again in June. We're going to probably be a little more aggressive with it this year because right now our reservoir is 100% full. But I will make sure VRI comes and sees you, Mr. McCormick, on Mearns. And I know there's 1 or 2 other houses that have reached out too. Pool repairs are almost complete. We had some issues with some of the tile and just some general maintenance. So those will be complete, so the pool's going to be open coming up soon. Opening day was a success. I know Deputy Mayor was there to, I think, throw out a pitch. Was it the first one or the second one?
I got to do the second.
Oh, okay. So thank you for that. I'm sure if I was there, I would have gotten the first one, but.
No.
No, I'm just kidding. I know.
That went.
To the supervisor.
No.
No?
No,
Who did it go to?
it went to Mr. Rubino.
Oh, okay, Mr. Rubino.
He brought the heat.
Water bills, as I said, went out. They went on time. I want to thank the office staff for working on those. I know I drove Lucci a little crazy with them, but I thank her for that and the rest of the folks down there, along with the water department and VRI. Trustee Gargiulo mentioned the cleanup event. The weather was not that great, but they did very well, and I thank them for that. West Point graduation is May 23rd. Right now, tentatively, the speaker is Secretary of War, Mr. Hegseth, thank you, sorry. We got our final sales tax check for our fiscal year. Came in around $299,000, which puts us roughly just under 1.6 million in collection for sales tax. So we did very well this year. Thank you for that. May 16th is Armed Forces Day. Speed bumps, we're going to be talking about that. The non-permanent ones will be going out soon, but we're going to talk about a couple of streets where permanent ones are going to go in. So we're working on that with DPW to come up with a list of ones we could test, and then we'll come to the board and we'll talk about them. I want to make a comment about a fantastic joint historic event that happened in Woodbury 2 weeks ago after our last meeting. Mrs. Coffey did a great job, who runs our town historic society. It was fantastic. I brought my son there, and I think he touched every table 4 times, so that was pretty good, and didn't break anything, so that was great. But many thanks to her and the town of Woodbury for putting on that event. FEMA meetings are usually Thursday, but FEMA never shows up because they're not getting paid. Central Hudson work is underway in Ondura Park. And then after that, the board will pull the trigger on getting that paved. I want the board to start thinking about the short-term rental law again. There's a couple zoning things we have to look at. As Mr. Titolo mentioned tonight, PUD. There's also look at 1 or 2 of the residential zones too as well. Just some cleanup stuff and the short-term rental law. So we have that. I know you have that all, but we'll get you another copy just in case you don't have it. There's a job fair. Orange County is holding a job fair. It's 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. I believe it's the 21st. We'll have it up on our website. And it's at the Crystal Run Galleria in Middletown. I got a call before the meeting tonight. There's no burning in the village of Highland Falls. Not just now, ever. I'm not talking about like a fire pit that you're having a barbecue and it's chilly out. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about brush. I knew there was a fellow one time that used to burn trash in the backyard. Like, you can't do that. So no burning in the village at any time. I sent an email to Supervisor Livesey about a joint meeting in June, which will be with both boards. I asked him to pick a date. I suggested the 22nd of June. I don't know if he's going to pick that day, but maybe just for you folks to tentatively put in on your calendar. I got a text message from Aaron Falk from the Town Recreation Department as director, and we had an issue at the Little League field at I call it the Sugar Shack, but the little refreshment building. They had gotten new equipment in the building. We had the rain, the roof leaked, the equipment was getting ruined again. It was sort of an emergency to get it fixed. So we had a roof repaired at the Little League field. And they actually donated some time in the repair. I thought that was very good, so I moved on that. Job fair. Okay. In May, next week actually, on May 12th, we joined this association 6 months ago, America's Defense Communities, and it's for communities that are outside military installations. So there's an event on May 12th. I'm going to go to it. It's in Washington, D.C. I'm going to stay at a friend's house, so there's no cost to the village. I'm going to drive down. If anybody wants to go, I don't know if I want you to ride with me, but we can talk about it, because I sometimes drive fast, out of town. No, so anyway, I'm planning on going to this. It's May 12th. It's kind of all day, and I'm probably going to stay at my friend's house right in Alexandria, Virginia, who's close by. So I have the flyer here. We'll have it on the website as well, too, but it would be for the board. And you get to meet with a congressman who's the chairman of the House Armed Service Committee. And they talk about money for communities outside of military installations. So I'm going down with a number of 20 million, give or take 5. So I'm just going to ask for a ridiculous amount, and then maybe if they send me home with a check for 10 for Highland Falls, then I think that would be a success.
Just make sure you come home with it.
Yeah, no, well, I'll make sure they won't write it out to cash, you know, because there's like 2 casinos you pass on the way back, so. But I could double our money, though.
I'm all in.
Okay.
Trust you.
So that's going to happen on the 12th of May. Saturday, June 27th, is a reading of the Declaration of Independence at the Highland Falls Library from 11 to 2. Please go to that. I know the board should have got a copy of our grants that we've been putting in for and that we've gotten. Make sure you have that. I think that might be it.
What is Central Option doing on Main Street that does that part of the like in front of like?
Yes, it's part of the hookup, yep. You have to go through Mr. Kresbach's yard to hook up to Regina. So that's their plan for that. That's all I had. Anybody else have anything? You okay?
Just on your, the Independence Day reading, if you want to participate in the reading, you can contact Running Coffee to be a part of the reading.
It's going to be recorded and possibly published on YouTube, so please dress appropriately. I need a motion to go in executive session. We're going to talk about contracts.
Motion.
Second? All in favor? Thank you. No decisions.